All right. Okay.
Because he's like 20% Slavic, and he says, "Oh, we're trying to make a better future for Russian people." He's terrible.
Test 1, 2. Oh, there you go. It works now. Hey guys, how's it going? Fantastic, fantastic. Hey, we're here to hear at Huntsville Pop Culture Expo 2022. You guys having fun? All right, cool. You guys ready to talk some DBZ stuff? Yeah, you guys. I don't think you guys are excited. You guys excited about talking about some DBZ stuff? Let me get a little louder. Can I get a little louder? Thank you. I appreciate that. But okay, so I'm gonna actually introduce these ladies. I'm gonna have them actually go down and do this amazing work. But you actually know her best. You know them best. We have Don and Elizabeth. So they're gonna come down and we're gonna talk to them. Come on down, ladies. Woo! I'm sorry, I was trying to make it a little speedy for the introduction. I know we're gonna have a timely manner type thing, right? Did you guys need something? Like water?
Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, so sorry about that. I had to go find one. I found me a Sonic mask, so I was like, Sonic 2 was actually a really good movie. Actually, honestly, I haven't seen it, but I'm taking my kids to go see it today. So it is. It is.
Awesome.
So let you guys get to know how we're going to do this. We're going to ask a couple questions. I'm going to talk to them a little bit, and they're going to get through the introduction. Then probably like 15 minutes, 20 minutes in, you guys have the floor, and we're going to try to do a one-shot type question, one at a time, and then if we have more time, we'll get to other questions too. Fair enough? You guys like that? Cool beans. So, Elizabeth, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself and, give us all your list of things that you do. I know, right? That's horrible.
Well, I guess I'll start with my name is Elizabeth Maxwell, which you probably know if you're in this panel. You also, if you're in this panel, probably know me best for Caulifla and half of Kefla from Dragon Ball Super. I'm also Midnight in My Hero Academia, Mir in Attack on Titan, Urbosa and Riju in Zelda Breath of the Wild. What else? Albedo and Overlord, Saimijima in Persona 5. So those are some of my better known VO roles.
They're awesome. We got to talk about Attack on Titan when you get them on. We got to have a conversation with them.
I'm also a pretty rabid reader of sci-fi and fantasy.
Really?
If you ever want to come geek out about that with me at my booth, please feel free.
So are you a Babylon 5 type person, or you are more of a Battlestar? Like, what is it, Battlestar?
Well, in all honesty, I have seen Battlestar Galactica. I have not seen Babylon 5, but I'm more a reader. I do watch TV as well, but I am just like a voracious reader. So I really love like fantasy series. Right now I'm reading the Gentleman Bastards trilogy. And y'all ever heard of that? It's fantastic. So
that sounds good.
Kind of like a caper heist sort of feel with like a real imperfect protagonist.
Like you found the third.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Sorry, I just kind of relate to things. But yeah, that's awesome. Don?
Hi guys, I'm Donna Bennett. I'm the voice of Kale from Dragon Ball Super.
And the other half of Kefla. Exactly.
I'm just gonna go with the name off her roles. I'm like, oh yeah, she's so cool in that one. Oh yeah, she's so cool in that one too.
You kind of geeked out with it, do you?
Oh, well, like that's the thing. Before I say the rest of my roles, like when I heard I was gonna be cast with you, I was like, her? What? This is the best. Like I was freaking out so bad. I played Persona 5. I played Breath of the Wild. I was like, who is this? She sounds gorgeous. You might also know me as Marnie from Pokemon Twilight Wings, Lucamine from Pokemon Evolutions, Frida from Attack on Titan, Frida Rice, and Setsuna Tokage from Class 1B in My Hero Academia, Elm from Ruby from the Aesops, yeah.
Awesome.
And Frosh from Fairy Tail. So.
Yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna get down into the gritty of the questions. Like the main question I always ask you ladies: who's been your favorite character you've actually voiced at? And that's the question. That's the question that's been asked. It's probably getting asked all the time. So yeah. Does it change? I guess the follow-up question I guess would be what is it now, and has it changed? I guess that'd be a good question, I think.
I mean, I tell people that asking me this question is like asking a mom who her favorite child is.
Ooh, that's tough.
And then I also get the answer a lot like, well, my mom had a favorite child.
That's crazy.
I mean, in all honesty, I feel like aside from pets, like these characters are the closest things to children that I have. Like
Yeah.
they're a part of me, I'm a part of them. And for me to say that I have a favorite, it's kind of like you love them all for different reasons. Like they have some reason why they are particularly
absolutely.
special to you. But I mean, I don't know. And I'll tell you this.
Okay.
The character that I'm most hoping / looking forward to like inhabiting again would probably be Nikki from Camp, which is a Rooster Teeth show.
Yeah.
And she's particularly special to me because she was one of the first prelay animation roles I got to do, which means you're not dubbing, you're not matching mouth flaps. And it was one of the first comedy shows. It was one of my first lead characters. And I just love her. She makes me feel like a better person when I'm like embodying her. And she makes me laugh so hard. Like I rewatch it all the time. I find new jokes.
Yeah.
And I just think the writing is so phenomenal on it.
So that's kind of like your person beyond person.
Yeah. I say she's my spirit animal.
Okay. Cool. I like that. Don?
Again, like to repeat what Elizabeth said, it's really hard to pick because like they all feel like they're a part of you, and you relate to each of them in different ways.
Yeah.
They're all like different facets of your personality. Not to say I'm an evil psychopath because I played a bunch of them. I mean, I guess if I have to pick a favorite right now, just because she's the most fun. Because I haven't played Cookie Run Kingdom at all. Anyone? None of
I know
you
the
have.
names.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know.
That's
It's tough.
okay. I played a psychopath named Twisted Gummy Cookie. Like a lot of people compare it to Jinx from League because it's just so therapeutic at the end of the week to just start laughing maniacally and screaming. So it does like what's fun for me.
Right.
In this instance, kind of like what Caleb was. Like I got to scream so much at the end of the week. Man, you ever have a frustrating work week and you just want to scream in a closet? Yeah, that's what I got to do, and I got paid.
It's like therapeutic, but with money.
Absolutely, exactly.
With money. That's pretty cool. So
I say sometimes that Khalifa and Kefla are the only characters I've ever played that require mandatory naps after the session. They're so energy intensive.
So let's break that down for us. Like, so what was it, when you finally got into the Dragon Ball, because it's age on age, right? Culture, working with you. So what was it when that phone call happened? And they're like, hey, we want you to play this character here that's, from another world, but how was it for you when you got that call?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have as much familiarity with Dragon Ball as a lot of people do. I didn't grow up with it, but you don't watch anime. Yeah, you don't watch anime and you don't get involved with dubbing without like kind of knowing that Dragon Ball is like the OG with a capital OG of all anime.
Yeah.
And so it's like I didn't have to have that history with it to know and feel like what an honor it was to get to step into the franchise and be a part of that legacy, and to be like two of the first female Super Saiyans was kind of like, yes, I'm all about girl power and like
that's another first,
equal
right?
representation, and that was very exciting for me because, like, I know being a young girl growing up watching anime and playing video games, like the girls that I saw, the female characters that I saw in those properties did influence like me as a kid, and like I saw myself in some of them, which made me feel better about myself. Like Chrono Trigger and seeing like Luca and Marl and like just seeing like these cool, like this kind of like nerdy, adventurous chick, and I was really nerdy growing up. Like seeing that reflected back at me was really validating, and so I was really excited to like add, female presence into the Dragon Ball universe.
That's cool. Tom?
I was talking with some folks about this yesterday. I still have the text message that Christopher Sabat sent me when he said I was going to become Kale. And I remember the moment I got it too, because maybe like 2 or 3
Wait,
weeks.
hold on.
Yes.
Christopher Sabbath text you?
He texted me about it. And I'll tell you the story, because about 2 or 3 weeks after I'd submitted the audition, I didn't hear back, and I just automatically assumed, I probably didn't get it. Like, it sucks, but I'll move on to the next thing. I'm driving, and out of the corner of my eye, I see on my phone, on my little dashboard, message from Christopher Sabat. I go, that man is the busiest man alive. Why is he texting me? So I pull over into a Trader Joe's parking lot, and I read it, and it says something like, congratulations, Don, you have been cast as Kale in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. You should be really proud of what you did, you did an amazing job. And I'm like, and I just start bawling, and I call my mom, I'm like, she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm gonna be in Dragon Ball. And she's like, what? We're gonna be in Dragon Ball. Freaking out. And then the following week, Chris Pratt had posted some tweet, and I responded to it and quote tweeted me. And Sabat texts me, he's like, man, Don, really good week for you. You get cast as Kale and Chris Pratt retweets you. Amazing. I'm like, good. But yeah, I freaked out so bad because I worked really hard on my audition, and I took a video of myself afterwards. I workshopped that audition so much that I lost my voice because I wanted it so bad. Because for my audition, I tried out as small Kale, and then I did a second take as big Kale, just to be like, hey, I can do both if you need me to. And my voice dropped an octave after that day. So I'm like, I really hope I get it. Yeah. But
Did you read for both Kale and Caulifla?
I did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I remember I read for both too, and I was like, well, there's no way I'm getting Kale. But
I was like, and then when they told me it was gonna be you as Caulifla, I'm like, yes. So, but yeah, that first day in the booth as well, I did the charging up pose, and the engineer Stephen Hoff keeps in it. He's like, you nerd. You have to do the charging up pose.
You do have to do charging pose.
I agree with Elizabeth. When I was little and watching Dragon Ball Z, I loved Videl. I wanted to see her fight more. Thank you. She's so cool. Let her fight more. You can be a mom, but you can also fight.
No, they don't have to happen.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's crazy. So, you guys both actually watched. What got you guys into anime? What was your first one? What was that? That kind of. Oh, I love this kind of stuff. For me, it was Ronin Warriors. I'm old. I'm 37. So.
Oh, you're so old.
I know.
You look so young.
So I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. But I'm 37. So Ronin Warriors is my OG. That was what got me into anime and started actually my journey. Right? What was yours?
So I am aging myself, I guess. I
You're so old.
I grew up in a time before, streaming services and Funimation subscription services and all
Me
that.
too.
So
VHS is in the house. Anybody remember VHSs? No.
My introduction into anime was basically whatever pirated VHS tapes my brother brought home from his anime high school club. And the first anime I ever watched was Escaflowne. And
Really?
Yeah, and the second was the
Nice.
Star
That's
Sapphire arc of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I think that's what's called the Star Sapphire arc. And so I was very limited at first to what I was exposed to because I was literally at the mercy of my brother.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, he had really good taste.
But look, even if you have bad, it's not to watch. You're like, I don't like what brother watched it. I need to watch something different.
But yeah, so that was my introduction, and then slowly as I got older and anime got a little bit more widespread and popular, I was able to find other people who actually knew what I was talking about when I talked about it. And then started getting my own DVDs.
Or streaming services,
No, I still don't know if there were streaming services.
No, I'm kidding. But I remember the days that, you had to go get, when we watched Dragon Ball, me and my best friend, and we would get a VHS, buy that, and actually watch the first 3 episodes before it released to TV. Because if you didn't know, back in the day, before it was put on television, it was actually put on VHS to make you go buy it. Then they put it on TV. So we used to always go buy it or go rent it out of Blockbuster. Excuse me, anybody don't know. But and actually watch that prior to it. Yeah, go ahead. So Don, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you are fine.
Tell all kinds of my stories, right? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, I remember going to Hollywood Video.
That was the people competition trying to beat Blockbuster, but they just and then it came it was like Gallery Movie or I don't know if you guys remember it was like we might have had like one of the mom pop thing where I come from, but yeah, it's another one that just didn't survive.
I always avoided Hollywood video because they were the ones that would censor their movies.
I didn't know that.
Yes, they were owned by a religious. I want to say it was a Mormon family or something, but they would actually like censor the movies so that they would take out certain things and like R-rated stuff.
They were far and none. I lived in the South, so it was all Blockbusters most of the time. So.
Oh my God, I'm from Texas. We had a Blockbuster down Main Street, and then we had a Hollywood Video. But the Hollywood Video was where I found like Ranma 1/2 and like a bunch of other anime there. My Blockbuster didn't really have anime, except for maybe Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon. But I remember going to Borders bookstore. Does anyone remember Borders? I miss Borders.
Yeah, I do.
I bought the Yu-Gi-Oh DVD because I got the anime like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and like the 4 kids stuff, which I still love. It has its charm.
Yeah.
And then like not too long after that, Inuyasha. I was a big Inuyasha kid. I loved it.
Midnight watches.
Oh,
yeah.
10 p.m. which was considered late for a child. But like I think I got into voice acting pretty early with Inuyasha because I was just so entranced by the performances. I used to take a little tape recorder, like before you could record things on your phone, and I would tape it. I would put it up to the TV speaker and tape it, and then I would listen to it at night. And I was like, this is awesome. So I think I got into it pretty early with like, especially with Inuyasha.
Did you ever like create little scripted dramas and plays with your tape recorder?
I didn't, but I do remember like role playing with my friend. We're like, oh, we're gonna make music, and you're gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. This weird, like what we're doing now is professional play.
Yeah, absolutely. The start of D&D, that's what that was, right? Back in the day, we had playgrounds. You had to go be one character, and the other one, and somebody would make sure that you're doing the right things. You don't cheat the rules, right? D&D all together. That's pretty cool. So are you guys, so out of everything that you guys do right now, are you watching? Obviously, you talking about watching Dragon Ball. So are you watching any of the stuff now, and do you watch it in sub, right? Because the dub ones come a little bit further on behind. They're not. Some animes now are day and day, right? But a lot of us is behind. So are you watching the subs and all that stuff to see what's going on to dub? What does that look like for you now?
Yeah. Like just Dragon Ball in particular? Or
just any of the animes you voice act right now, are you watching them sub, to see them all kind of things, and
The last thing that I watched sub all the way, just because of our jobs, I tend to be kind of like too busy to really watch shows all the way through. I think the last show that I watched all the way through was Vox Machina. If anyone has seen that yet, it's very good. I love that show. But the last anime that I watched all the way through was Wonder Egg Priority. Has anyone seen Wonder Egg Priority?
Mm-hmm.
If you, it's beautiful. It's made by Cloverworks, same guys who did Promise Neverland. It's super heavy, though. I will warn you, the material is very heavy due to the show. But I think that was the last one I watched all the way through, and that was last year. So.
Well, and I mean, the subs are coming out, or the dubs are coming for the most part. In a lot of simulcast shows, the dubs are coming out just a day or two after the subs. So I used to watch only subs like when I was younger. I will admit it. I was not a fan of the dubs.
Yeah.
But because of what we do, like I feel like I watch subs now because I think it's important to hear what the work that's being done and my colleagues and stuff.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately, I feel like the only bad thing about our job is the more I do this for a living, the less time I have to consume it for purely recreational purposes.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of time to watch shows all the way through that I'm not like a fairly large character in. So most of what I watched is like My Hero, Attack on Titan, Fruits Basket, Overlord, the stuff that I'm in.
I'm so disappointed in Attack on Titan right now. So disappointed. They took up my just small rant. They took up my Hero Academia time frame, which typically comes out first of the year. They're like, hey, go ahead and finish what you're doing with Attack on Titan. But no, Attack on Titan said, no, we're not gonna finish it. We're gonna get the rest of it to you in 2023. What? That's just crazy for me. Anyways, but if anybody asks, how did you get? So I know Don, you said you got in early with recording yourself, stuff like that. Like, what was that? What was that experience when you got that first call? So hey, you're hired for this job. What was that like?
So, the way that I got into like Funimation, like my journey to that was, I had gone to, this was like right before I graduated from college, I'd gone to a small convention called HaberCon. It was a one-day convention called HaberCon. I was like, this is awesome. Well, it happened to take place during Thanksgiving weekend, which was when I went to school in Boston, but I lived in Texas. It was that Thanksgiving weekend down in Texas. So I went, I go to this, they had a voice acting contest.
Yeah.
The prize was an audition at Funimation. I did not win that contest. But one of the judges was Tyler Walker, who was the director for Fairy Tale. So fast forward like a few months later, I'm about to graduate from Berkeley in Boston, and I get a message from Tyler Walker, and he goes, hey, I really liked you at the contest. You want to come audition for Fairy Tale? I'm like, bro, screw graduation, I'm going home. I graduate on Saturday, fly home on Sunday, audition for Fairy Tale on Monday, and then I get cast as first like 2 weeks later. So just like right out of the gate after college.
That's awesome.
So I was best ever.
Best moment ever, right? Gotcha. What about you?
Well, with Funimation wasn't my very first VO job, but I had decided that I wanted to pursue voice acting, and I've done a lot of research and put together a VO demo reel. And I had done a lot of also research about like marketing and how to like treat yourself as a small business. So I had been emailing Funimation on a regular basis and basically being like, hey, like, my name's Elizabeth Maxwell, I'm living in Texas. Yeah, like, here's my VO demo reel. I'd really love to work with you all. If you have open auditions, I'd love to be considered. Thank you very much. And like every month I would email them a new email with my demo reel, kind of like updating them on like, any classes I had taken, any roles I had booked, and like, I call it polite persistence. And after 8 months, it was actually funny. I had volunteered for some event. I don't even remember what it was anymore. But I was working this event, and I got an email from Tara, who was the talent coordinator at Funimation. After 8 months of emailing Funimation, I got an email from her saying like, hey, we're holding open auditions for a show called Attack on Titan at the studio. Would you like to come in and audition? And it was that day. And I live in Austin, which is about a 4-hour drive from Dallas. And I was like, yeah, cool, yeah, when would you like me to come in? It was like 1 p.m., which was like 4.5 hours from whatever time it was at that. And I was like, yes, that'd be great, thank you, I'm honored, I will see you soon. And I like
professional secretary.
I know, I was like very cool. And then like I finished my email and I like turned to the other volunteers and I was like, guys, I gotta go. My destiny awaits. And I like ran in my car and like sped up to Dallas and read for Attack on Titan. And then Ymir was my very first role that I got cast in Funimation.
That's very awesome. She's so cool. That is so cool. That is very cool, actually. I like it. That's how I got my first job. So it's persistence. I guess that's pretty cool. Quick thing before I get to the crowd. How do you guys feel about the whole, buying the Crunchyroll and Funimation, disappearing now? Crunchyroll is taking on Funimation.
Well, I will say,
you have to look at Donnie like
Crunchyroll is not taking over Funimation. They have merged. And they're just taking the Crunchyroll name. So it's,
right.
I don't really know very much about like the business side of it. So I can only assume that if it's happening, it's
for a good reason.
It's for a good reason and it is benefiting both companies. And if it benefits anime and our access to it here in the US, then I say awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't really have like a huge opinion on it because like I moved out of Texas back in December 2019, Great timing, by the way. So like, I'm not too in the loop, but I think like it's gonna benefit people.
Absolutely, 100%. I called it though. I do an anime show for Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, and we made that. We talked about updated news, and then like I talked to my panelists, and then like, no, they didn't keep the Funimation. And I was like, nah, Crunchyroll's more popular. Yeah, it's Funimation, the OG from back in the day, like everybody knows, but like most people talk about Crunchyroll for some reason a lot more than they do. The younger group just put more money into talk about that.
It's actually kind of funny too, because my brother has worked for Crunchyroll for several years on the tech side.
Mm-hmm.
And like now that they've merged, like we know a lot of the same people because he has like producers over him that like I know from the Funimation side. And it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so hey guys, so it's about that time to answer these questions that you guys may have. So all you gotta do is line up right there. That microphone should be on. If it's not, the first person there, if you don't mind just clicking the button and turn it on.
Or if you don't want to get up and you've got good pipes, you can just yell out your question.
That too works as well. Anybody want to get up or you want to go to the mic?
Yes,
Go ahead.
Mr. Dorito Man.
I mean, I'm kind of like right for us. I don't think I need the mic, but so other than like the main three from Camp in particular, other than the main three of Max, Neil, and Nikki, which of the other kind of side character campers is your favorite?
Oh, Dolph,
Dolph.
for sure. His episode where they keep like almost like insinuating that he is a certain mustachioed German that we all know and love or not love. And I think, that was like one of my favorite episodes of all time. I love him very much. I also really like Neris because, you know, she reminds me a little bit of me when I was young too. But I feel like all of the characters are so lovable in their own way. Each side character can have their own show, I feel like.
That's awesome.
Are you in Camp
No, I am not. I've only seen little bits and pieces. You are amazing, and I think that's his baby.
I gotta watch an episode of Camp. I get too busy with that stuff, but I'm gonna watch it just because she said it. How great it is.
It's the only, I have a lot of friends from back home that don't watch anime, and Camp is one of the only shows that I introduce them to that they willingly watch on their own without me like getting after them to watch. So
They're probably Go ahead. Anybody? Yes, sir. Okay, sorry. Yes, sorry.
I wanted to know what your thoughts on Max.
my thoughts on Max. I assume you're talking about the fact that he was written to, well, essentially I found out, I don't think I even originally knew this, that he was written to be of Indian descent, but he was played by a Caucasian person. Is that what you mean?
How destructive the character's personality is. What your thoughts on that?
Oh, about his personality and about him being kind of like a little self-destructive. I mean, I feel like one of the things that I like about Camp, and obviously like when you do comedy, a lot of times part of what's funny is you take something and then you amp up the volume to 11, and that's what makes it funny. I mean, I truly feel like I knew kids like Max growing up. Just like I could probably identify like a friend of mine or a classmate of mine that I could see each of their characters in. And so, I mean, to me, Max is actually pretty realistic. And one of the things that I've always loved about Camp is the play between him and David, and how like Max kind of represents, you know, like the dark side, if you will, and then David is the light side, but they're both incredible extremes of that. And like they both end up like teaching each other things and rubbing off on each other like throughout the course of several seasons. But it's like they never truly change each other, but they do make each other better. And I don't know, I always thought it was like actually a pretty realistic portrayal of like how you don't necessarily change someone, but you can rub off on them and take off some of their sharp edges.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who else got a question? Oh, you. Mike, yeah, come on. Sorry. Go ahead.
I love this whole franchise, and I think it's awesome you were voice acted in that. How different was working on that to say like the anime roles you do, and then both of you. Just how was it getting into like the role of singing? Like when you cosplay your characters?
I'd totally pay to see you with Kale.
Depends. Big Kale or small Kale? I gotta work out.
Yeah. You gotta be like Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, like, sorry, what was the question again? Sorry.
What was it like getting into your roles as Saints? Like,
Oh,
and then, well, if you cosplay them, but also for her.
I would love to cosplay Kale one day. Again, very loose in a little bit. But for those of you who may not know, I'm a huge Incredible Hulk fan, and Kale is essentially a Hulk. So like
Yeah.
getting to do that was a huge dream come true. I literally just met Lou Ferrigno this weekend, and I was like, yay! I get to meet the guy who was in the Hulk. So,
Yeah.
it
Mark
was,
Ruffalo's next for you, right?
huh?
Mark Ruffalo's next for you, right?
Mark Ruffalo, Fred Tatasciore, who plays the Hulk in like a ton of animated series, he's gonna be at AVOX, so the con we're doing in LA. People are telling me, my friends got me a shout out from him for my birthday. I'm like, I just became like a huddle of just inaudible people, like, this is so neat. But yeah, getting to play Kale and getting to like Hulk out was an absolute dream come true for me. Yeah, I'd play it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally. I used to do amateur cosplay like before I did voice acting professionally, and I was limited by my ability to sew. So if somebody else made me a costume, I would totally wear it. Not costume, I'm sorry, cosplay. But to answer your question about working on Zelda versus like dubbing, in some ways it was actually kind of similar because a lot of the cutscenes were dubbing. Which is why actually a lot of the actors that they ended up casting had experience with dubbing and had experience in the anime realm. But I will say, working with Nintendo, they were easily the most like secretive company that I've ever worked with before, for good reason. I mean, they have like a lot to like protect, but there was more kind of like veiled secrecy, and it was like when I auditioned, like none of the characters were real. They made up characters, they made up audition sides that didn't have anything to do with the game. The project name had a code name. Like we had zero idea what we were auditioning for, and I was cast in the role, signed a contract, flew out to LA, walked into the studio, and was put before a microphone, still not having any idea what I was recording. And it wasn't until they were like, okay, we're gonna need a few minutes, go ahead and make yourself comfortable, flip through the script if you want. And it wasn't until I looked down at the script and saw the word Hyrule on there that I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And thank God I did have a few minutes because I needed them. But yeah, it was. That was, I guess, one of the main differences for me was just the level of not being able to prep beforehand.
So I guess you can't say if you laid down any lines for two.
No, I can't.
That's hilarious. Who else? Yes.
I have actually two questions.
Sure.
Did the screen ever have any repercussions?
Did the screens ever have any repercussions?
Like straining your voice?
For Dragon Ball, I
The
assume.
Dragon Worship.
I mean, like, anytime I would have a really, I think the audition hurt me more just because I was like, this has to be right. I really want to book this. This has to be perfect. But with a director, there was less pressure, I think, because like they knew what they wanted and they would tell me if they wanted something different. But I definitely remember when Kale goes Hulk on Goku. I had to take we have this thing that we take called Chinese cough syrup. It's also called honey loquat syrup, and like you kind of take it to help just alleviate like your vocal cords for a little bit. It's a very temporary solution.
It's like a Band-Aid for your vocal cords.
Yeah. So I took that and it helped me get through the rest of the session. And then after that, I just went on complete vocal rest, had some soup, and then I was fine like the next day or two.
What is vocal rest?
Not talking. Absolutely, not even whispering, because whispering can make it worse.
Yeah. I will say that working on Dragon Ball, a lot of times people ask me like, what's the hardest thing you've ever worked on? And my answer usually is Dragon Ball because it was more vocally stressful than anything else I've ever done in my career because it's just fight after fight and you have to like top yourself every
Yep.
single fight. And it was a little trickier for me because we recorded it before remote recording was as common as it is now because of the pandemic. And with me not living in Dallas, I lived in Austin, and it's a pretty decent drive. A lot of times with Dragon Ball, the director told me that people would come in and only do 2 hours of recording in order to kind of save their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would come up and I'd have to do 4 in order to kind of like take advantage of being up there and not having to come up every single week. And so it was a little hard for me because I was going for much longer than you normally would when you're working on that vocally stressful of a property. It was a juggling act for me because I wouldn't necessarily go on complete vocal rest the next day, but I had to be very strategic about like when I would record my auditions and when I would schedule other sessions around the Dragon Ball sessions.
That's pretty cool.
I had something tricky come up as well, like when, I think it was during that time when Kale was going Hulk on Goku, I also had Borderlands 3 recording those same few weeks, and I don't know if you guys know, in Borderlands 3, I played some of the female fanatics, who all their lines are screaming, but I even think that one was tougher than Kale, because Kale still has like little quiet moments and stuff, but like the female fanatics are all just like, yeah, guys, let's go! Screaming nonstop. But I think what was helpful, like, we have good directors. We've got like Joel McDonald working on Borderlands 3, we got Raleigh working on Dragon Ball. They were both very respectful of like, how you doing? You're doing okay? Do you need a break? We can stop. Blah, blah, blah. Do you want to take like 10, 15 minutes? Let's get you tea, whatever. I think that's really helpful because, like, sometimes you might work with a director that's like, yeah, let's just keep going, and I'm like, need to stop. So, having a good director take care of you is essential to this.
That's pretty good. What was the second question?
This one may be silly, but what's your favorite Dragon Ball character?
Favorite Dragon Ball character?
That's tricky.
I'm gonna say Kaba because he doesn't get no love.
None at all.
But I actually really like Hit too.
I was gonna say, it's really cool, and also Matthew Mercer is amazing. I was also gonna say Majin Buu. I think he's adorable. I mean, he turns people into candy. That's so terrifying and cute. That's why I love that one.
I also, maybe it was because we heard her so much like in our art, but I love Sarah Wheaton-Huff's Zeno. It's the most terrifyingly adorable thing I've ever seen.
Who's Sarah? Is that?
Whoa, no,
I'm like, I'm very convinced Sarah could fight a guy.
Most likely take it down. Anybody else? Oh, in the back there. Right there.
Oh, just,
Yeah.
okay. Hi, this is a question for Elizabeth. First of all, it's so nice meeting you.
Oh, thank you. What's your name?
I'm Wyatt.
What? Nice to meet you
Okay,
too.
so I wanted to ask you about Nishima-san. I'm a huge Persona fan, and my favorite boss fight in 5 is yours because you have like so much raw energy in that boss fight. But what I was gonna ask is, what was it like doing the dub for that game? And do you know if we'll get to see any more of the Phantom Thieves in the future?
Well, I will tell you just in general, if you ask me anything about the future, my answer will always be, I don't know, or I can't say, or I can tell you, but I'd have to kill you because I really like my job, or I still want to lose it. But yeah, I mean, working on that game was a huge honor, first of all, like to be able to walk into like such an incredible like series of games that were so well regarded was awesome. And the folks at PCB, which is where we recorded it, they like take that storytelling real seriously and treat it with a lot of care. Like, for instance, we didn't ever do more than 2 hours of recording at a time for Persona 5, where 4 is usually the normal, but they never wanted to do more than 2 because they were very much like, we want you fresh, we want, we don't want to tax you, like, we want all of your energy and focus and concentration and emotion, like, at it for these characters, so we don't ever want to go above 2 hours at a time. And it was so cool. It's not very often that I've gotten to record on a game where there's that much dialogue. And to kind of like get to explore that enormous arc of a story felt like being in a play or like a feature-length movie. It was very artistically satisfying.
She sounds amazing. Oh, yeah, you had a question.
So, from Dawn, Vidal 18 or Kefla? Who's the coolest?
Oh, come on, man, you can't make me.
That's a loaded question.
Very much so.
Look, I love 18's vibe. She's just got like such cool vibes, but Kefla though. I mean,
Together, we can do anything.
that's true, but it's not in the cosmos. Yeah, I'm going for my answer. I'm going for
Kefla,
Kefla.
all right.
Yeah. What you got? You ain't hearing it from me? No. Sorry. Anybody else? Yes.
So, firstly, thank you all so much for coming out all this way.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's an honor to meet you. But my question is kind of 2 in 1, so I'm going to try and keep this as short as I can. I once read that for Gogeta and Vegito, they actually recorded their lines, Shachimo for Sada, at the same time, and they just tried to mimic each other's character. And I want to know if that was true for Kefla with you two. And also, which one you like playing better, your individual characters or the fusion?
That is a very cool question.
Do you want to take it back?
Well, sure. I can't speak to what Sean and Chris did because I don't know. And also, Dragon Ball has been recording for so long before I got involved that it's quite possible that what they did in the beginning is nothing like what we did when we recorded Kefla. But what we did is one of us would record first, and we usually switched off. Like one episode, Dawn would record first, and then the next episode I would record first, and kind of try and like do our best to, like, I remember Raleigh telling me that like you kind of tried to caulifla your kale a little bit, and then I would try and like kale my caulifla a little bit. So we were getting like that fusion of personality, and then the next actor comes in and has to try and match what, like, I would have to try and match what Dawn recorded as closely as I could. But then they do have like a plugin or software where it kind of like, we would try and get as close as we could naturally. And then they have like a program that they would run it through that would kind of like tighten things up at the edges. So
So
that's like a perfect match. Yeah.
That's exactly what they would do, because I think they said the plugin was mainly used for like if people are all trying to sing in unison with each other. It would just match it up exactly. Like I watched it match the way from like, this is wizardry. But yeah, that's essentially what we would do. I think most of the time it would be coming up first, especially because you were coming up like doing 4 hours at a time. So usually Elizabeth was in first and I would match her, but occasionally
Except for the game, I think, right?
Yeah,
You record first on
I
the
think I
game.
recorded first on the game. But yeah, that's essentially what we did, and it was a lot of like me trying to caulifla up kale, make her more confident. Still like the deeper kale, but not as like, unhinged and all that. So as for like if we enjoyed recording Kefla versus like our regulars, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because I thought, it's 2 different performances and I love both for different reasons. I think it was really cool trying to play like a more confident kale. So I don't know. I think I did enjoy playing Kefla a lot.
I think I enjoyed playing Kefla more in the anime, only because when we first did Kefla for the game, I felt like I was still kind of figuring out who she was.
Yes.
Whereas by the time we got to the anime, like I already knew precisely who Kalika was, and I had a really good idea of who Kale was based on Dawn's performance. So it was easier to figure out how to meld the personalities into Kefla for me. But yeah.
All right. Oh, it's about that time. Why don't you give these ladies a huge hand clap?
Are you going to your table for a little bit?
She took the cover with me.
I'm sorry. Oh, you used to have like a really good mom. That sounds terrible.
It's okay.
You're
It's
so
okay.
good at your job, you surprise me.
Oh, no, yeah. So, like he added on, make sure you go by and check down our table. I know Elizabeth has a photo op that you have to be in, right?
And then I have a My Hero panel.
Yeah, she's gonna. If you come to My Hero, she's gonna be a little bit late. I'm just telling you now. Let's just do that Ruby. It's Ruby on, right? Yes, it's Ruby on. So, if you haven't got a chance to see her, get a chance to see her. I'm telling you now, all the celebrities leave at 3 o'clock. So if you have not done what you need to do, they leave at 3. Just want to let you know. I don't know if that.
I'm leaving a little bit early. I think I'm doing that up and then I'm out immediately after, but it was really nice seeing you all and thank you so much for having us. I had such a fun weekend.
I'm
I'm like
glad.
freaking out how much fun I had.
Come
I have
back.
so much stuff to take home now.
You gotta come back and check out some other ones.
This is so cool.
Yeah,
The
it's
axe throwing last night, it was great.
Did you believe for the axe? You know, did you just put that on there?
She was so good at it. I wasn't, but I got to throw things.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And make sure you come by and check the My Hero. That's actually next on the other side.
And if you do have anything you still need to get signed or you just have any other questions we weren't able to get to, I should be at my table from 2 to 3 p.m. today.
There you go. You guys are good. You're welcome.
No pressure, but thank you for being able to do that. So we can get these girls over. These amazing ladies, them.
Don't put down from up there.
She's got it, and it's on the table. She's my friend.
Good.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. Are you a Mavericks fan? Any sports at all?
You know, to be honest, I watch